Hey, welcome back to the Listen Up Girl podcast. Before I jump into today's news, I just wanted to ask if you could please go to the description of this podcast and click on the audience survey link. I'm doing a survey so I can help myself understand who my audience is. I want to get your thoughts on what you think about this podcast and my other podcasts, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay. I have a lot of ideas for new shows, maybe even a new podcast, and you taking the 10 minutes to fill out the survey really, really helps. So please just take 10 minutes, fill it out, and I appreciate it. But let's get into today's news breakdown. We're going to keep it honest, sharp, and easy to follow. I'm your host again, Zach Randles-Friedman, and today we have so much to get into, from Ricky Martin speaking the truth about queer safety in America, to the brave trans teen heading to the Supreme Court, and the global crackdowns on LGBTQ plus digital spaces. So our first story, we start with Ricky Martin, who says LGBTQ plus people are hiding again in America. In a powerful new interview with USA Today, Ricky Martin is sounding the alarm about realities facing gay men in the United States today. While promoting his Apple TV Plus series, Palm Royale, Ricky Martin drew parallels between Closet World, the 1960 characters, and the fear many LGBTQ people still feel today. He said this is a story about a gay man in the late 1960s, but sadly, we're still dealing with the same fear, the same uncertainty, the same rejection here in America, and we have to hide again. Ricky Martin, who came out in 2010, called the role a chance to highlight ongoing struggles. He pointed to FBI data showing that in 2024, over 20% of hate crimes were motivated by sexual orientation or gender identity basis. And while the Supreme Court recently declined to revisit marriage equality, several states continue attempting to roll back LGBTQ plus rights. Ricky said the climate has left him unsettled, and acting in a series felt both like a calling and a responsibility. Our next story is trans teen Becky Pepper-Jackson takes her fight to the Supreme Court. So 15-year-old Becky Pepper-Jackson of West Virginia is taking her case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court after being banned for competing on the girls' school sports teams. Becky and her mom argued that the state's ban violates the U.S. Constitution and Title IX, which protects students from sex-based discrimination. In a heartfelt statement released by Lambda Legal, Becky explained that she just wants to run, make friends, compete like any other kid. Instead, she has become the target of political attacks. She said, "This isn't just about me. It's part of a plan to push transgender people like me out of public life entirely. And I want other transgender kids to know they are not alone." Her case may have a massive implication for trans youth nationwide. Next, Apple is removing a major gay dating app in China amid a crackdown. Apple removes major gay dating apps in China amid crackdown. Apple has pulled two of China's most popular gay dating apps, Blued and Finka, following an order from Cyberspace Administration of China. While users already have the apps, can still use them, new downloads have been blocked. The move adds China's ongoing crackdown on LGBTQ plus digital space, where more queer apps, including Grindr, are already banned. The sudden removal sparked anxiety across China's social media, while many worrying about the shrinking future of queer visibility online. Just so you know, it is Trans Awareness Week and violence is rising. This week marks Trans Awareness Week, a time to uplift trans voices and stories, but also to confront alarming realities. Across the United States, including states like Kentucky, more trans people are turning to self-defense as anti-trans rhetoric intensifies. Between 2017 and 2023, homicides of trans people have nearly doubled, with 263 lives lost and 70% of those caused by gun violence. These aren't just numbers, they are lives, futures, families forever change. We speak their names by speaking the truth. Our next story is Jim Obergefell praised the Supreme Court for rejecting Kim Davis appeal. Joe Obergefell, the lead plaintiff behind the landmark Supreme Court case that legalized gay marriage, celebrated this week rejection of Kim Davis' attempt to overturn that ruling. He said he hopes the court halts further attempts by public officials to use religious as a means to deny LGBTQ people equal rights. Next, Tom Ford with a star-packed adaptation of Anne Cry to Heaven. Tom Ford is back, and he is bringing a massive A-list of cast with him. Deadline reports he'll direct, write, and produce a film adaptation of Anne Rice's Cry to Heaven, set in 18th century Italy and centered on opera and identity. The cast includes Adele, Hunter Schafer, Lux Pascal, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Nicholas Colin Firth, Paul, and more. Filming in January in London and in Rome, release expected in late 2026. Next, Andy Cohen on why Madonna has never appeared on Watch What Happened Live. Andy Cohen is opening up again about the one guest he still hasn't been able to book, Madonna. During his appearance on How to Fail with Elizabeth Day podcast, Cohen revealed that even though he's interviewed just about every major celebrity on the planet, the Queen of Pop remains untouchable. He shared that Madonna once jokingly called him a troublemaking queen, referencing how guests on Watch What Happened Live often feel comfortable enough to throw playful or sometimes not so playful shade at her. Those comments tend to go viral, and Madonna is very aware of the show and how it amplifies these moments. Still, Cohen says the door is always open, praising Madonna as an icon who gets to do whatever she wants, whenever she wants. He added that he's more than ready to welcome her if she ever chose to show up. But until then, he's happily admiring her from afar and keeping the dream alive. Next, we have Robyn, who has finally released a new track called Dopamine, and it is giving everything. So after 7 long years, Robyn has returned and fans are already losing it. Her new single, Dopamine, is being praised as a triumph comeback full of emotional intensity. The track blends shimmering production with that classic Robyn ache, dance through the heartbreak energy that makes songs like Dancing on Your Own and Call Your Girlfriend LGBTQ plus anthems. Critics are saying Dopamine feels both fresh and deeply familiar while stepping back into the feeling you didn't realize you miss. The release also hints for a potential new album era, something fans have been craving since 2018's Honey, and if Dopamine is any indication, is gearing up to deliver another chapter that hit just as hard and emotionally and on the dance floor. Drag storytime performer defies ban in Australia. In Australia, drag performer Jesper Duffy, known professionally as Lavish Luzel, made a bold statement this week by hosting a drag storytime event inside a Cumberland Council venue, despite the council implementing a ban last year. Duffy said he organized both the reading as a protest and as a reminder that drag can be wholesome and completely appropriate for children. He stressed that drag is simply a form of costume performance, no different from a princess at a birthday party or a character entertainer at a theme park. He pushed back on the narrative that drag is misguided and rooted in misinformation. The event drew a supportive audience, showing the local families still want inclusive spaces for their kids. Duffy hopes his actions inspire other councils to revisit bans and recognize that queer joy in storytelling should never be treated like a threat. Next, we have Nicki Minaj appears to approve White House TikTok using her song. Next, we have Airyn De Niro, who's her father, for unwavering support after coming out. So trans actress Airyn De Niro is speaking out what it meant to have full-hearted support from her father, legendary actor Robert De Niro. When she came out publicly earlier this year, Aaryn's announcement came across tabloids who ran invasive stories commenting on her appearance. She chose to reclaim her narrative through an interview with them, where she shared her truth on her own terms. The next day, her father released a statement expressing total support, urging media outlets to respect her dignity and identity. Airyn says her father's affirmation not only fortified her during a vulnerable moment, but also highlighted what unconditional parental love should look like. She emphasized that parents don't need to be celebrities or activists to support trans kids. They just need to listen, learn, and show up. Her hope is that her story inspires families to choose compassion over judgment. Really, really nice. And our last story is violence against trans people continues to rise, and communities are responding. As part of Trans Awareness Week, advocates are drawing attention to escalating violence facing trans people across the United States and beyond. Between 2017 and 2023, homicides of trans individuals have doubled, with lives lost, with the vast majority of them Black and brown trans women. 73% were killed with guns, reflecting a broader trend of rising firearm violence that disproportionately targets marginalized communities. In places like Kentucky, many trans adults report taking safety into their own hands, learning self-defense, traveling in groups, or avoiding certain public places. Community organizations say fear is higher than ever, but so is resilience. Trans leaders are organizing safety trainings, mentorship programs, and visuals to honor victims. While political attacks on trans rights continue, advocates say that most important message this week is simple. Trans lives are precious, and trans people deserve safety, dignity, and protection everywhere. So those are the headlines for today. On Thursday, November 13th, be sure to check back this weekend for more LGBTQ plus news. Thanks so much for listening. If you haven't followed the show, please do. And also check out my other podcast, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay. Have a great week.